Imagine this, you're standing on a sun-drenched beach, the waves crashing like thunder, and a single dad, burdened by years of loss and responsibility, spots his stunning boss wading into the turquoise sea. Her bikini slips in the surf, exposing more than she intended, and instead of turning away in embarrassment, he steps closer and whispers softly, "You don't have to look away." What happens next will tug at your heartstrings, make you believe in second chances, and remind you that vulnerability can lead to the deepest connections. If this sounds like the emotional roller coaster you've been craving, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel for more stories that touch the soul. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Mark Thompson had always been the kind of man who played it safe. At 38, he was a single dad to his energetic 7-year-old daughter, Lily, after losing his wife, Sarah, to a sudden illness 3 years ago. Life had become a monotonous routine: wake up at dawn, prepare breakfast, drop Lily at school, head to his job as a marketing coordinator at a bustling ad agency, and repeat. The grief had hollowed him out, leaving little room for anything beyond survival. But everything changed on that company retreat to the Hawaiian Islands, a mandatory team-building trip that Mark dreaded. His boss, Elena Vasquez, was the epitome of poise and power, a 35-year-old Latina powerhouse who ran the agency with fierce intelligence and unyielding standards. She was single, ambitious, and seemingly untouchable, with her sharp suits and commanding presence in boardrooms. Mark admired her from afar, but never dared to think beyond professional boundaries. The retreat started innocently enough. Team games on the beach, awkward icebreakers, and group dinners under palm trees. Mark kept to himself, his thoughts often drifting to Lily back home with her grandparents. He missed her laughter, her tiny hugs that made the world feel less heavy. On the second day, the group decided on a beach outing. Elena, usually so buttoned up, surprised everyone by showing up in a vibrant red bikini that accentuated her curves. She laughed it off as letting loose for once, but Mark couldn't help but notice how the sun kissed her olive skin, how her dark hair cascaded like waves. He felt a stir he hadn't experienced in years, not lust, exactly, but a quiet appreciation for her confidence. As the afternoon wore on, the group scattered. Some played volleyball, others lounged with drinks. Elena, ever the adventurer, waded into the sea, the water lapping at her thighs. Mark watched from the shore, sketching absent-mindedly in the sand, a habit he'd picked up to cope with his emotions. Suddenly, a rogue wave hit, pulling Elena off balance. She stumbled, and in the chaos, her bikini top slipped, exposing her briefly to the elements. Panic flashed across her face as she scrambled to fix it, her hands fumbling in the salty spray. The beach wasn't crowded, but a few colleagues nearby averted their eyes awkwardly. Mark's heart raced. Without thinking, he dropped his towel and strode into the water, his shirt still on, waves soaking his shorts. "Elena," he called softly, reaching her side. She turned, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment, one arm crossed over her chest. "Here," he said, shrugging off his shirt and holding it out like a shield. But as she took it, their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. "You don't have to look away," he murmured, his voice barely audible over the ocean's roar. It wasn't about the slip, it was about seeing her, really seeing her, flaws and all, without judgment. In that moment, Mark realized he was offering more than fabric, he was offering acceptance, the kind he'd craved since Sarah's death. Elena wrapped the shirt around herself, her eyes searching his. "Why?" she whispered, the vulnerability cracking her usual armor. Mark hesitated, the water swirling around their legs. "Because life's too short for hiding," he replied. "I've spent years looking away from my own pain, pretending it's not there. But seeing you, it reminds me we're all just human." They stood there, the sea gentling around them, as the initial shock faded into a tentative conversation. Elena confessed she'd always felt the pressure to be perfect, the first in her family to climb the corporate ladder, hiding her insecurities behind success. Mark shared about Sarah, how her loss had left him terrified of opening up again, especially with Lily depending on him. That evening, back at the resort, they talked for hours on the balcony overlooking the ocean. Elena opened up about her own losses, a failed engagement that shattered her trust, the loneliness of leadership where everyone saw her as the boss, not the woman. Mark spoke of the guilt he carried, wondering if he was enough for Lily, if he'd ever feel whole again. Their stories intertwined like the vines on the resort walls, raw, honest, and unexpectedly healing. But challenges loomed. Back at work, rumors swirled about their beach encounter, fueled by a nosy colleague who'd snapped a photo from afar. Elena faced scrutiny from higher-ups, questioning her professionalism. Mark worried about Lily. How could he introduce someone new into their lives without risking more heartbreak? The tension built over the following weeks. Mark returned home to Kuala, Pakistan. Wait, no, that was a fleeting thought from somewhere else. Actually, they were based in California, but the emotional distance felt vast. Elena called him late one night, her voice trembling. "I can't do this, Mark. The office is watching. What if it all falls apart?" He drove to her apartment that very evening, Lily in tow after a quick arrangement with a sitter. "Then we face it together," he said, holding her hand. Lily, sensing the shift, tugged at Elena's sleeve. "Are you Daddy's friend?" He smiles more now. That innocent comment broke the dam. Elena knelt down, tears in her eyes. "I'd like to be, if that's okay." Their relationship blossomed slowly, with hurdles that tested their resolve. Mark's in-laws disapproved at first, fearing he'd forget Sarah. Elena's promotion hung in the balance amid the gossip. But they tackled each challenge head-on. Mark organized a family dinner where Elena charmed his in-laws with stories of her own heritage, bridging cultures and hearts. Elena confronted the office rumors directly in a team meeting, owning her humanity. "I'm not just your boss, I'm a person. And sometimes, people find connection in unexpected places." The agency, surprisingly, rallied around her authenticity, and her promotion went through. Lily became the glue. At first shy, she warmed to Elena's bedtime stories and weekend adventures. One pivotal moment came during a family trip to the beach, the same one that started it all, but this time as a unit. As waves crashed, Lily built sandcastles while Mark and Elena walked hand in hand. "Remember that day?" Elena asked, leaning into him. Mark nodded, pulling her close. "It was the slip that saved us both." They laughed, the sound mingling with the sea's symphony. Months turned into a year. Mark proposed on that very beach, with Lily holding the ring box. Elena said yes, her eyes shining. Their wedding was simple, surrounded by loved ones who'd witnessed their growth. But the real resolution came in the quiet moments, Mark learning to let go of guilt, Elena embracing imperfection, and Lily thriving with two parents who modeled love's resilience. In the end, this isn't just a story of a bikini slip and a whispered assurance, it's a testament to the power of vulnerability. Life throws waves that expose our rawest selves, but it's in those moments we find true connection. Don't hide from your slips, embrace them, and let them lead you to shores you never imagined. If this tale moved you, smash that like button, subscribe for more heartwarming stories, and turn on notifications, because your next favorite story is just a click away. Remember, you don't have to look away from what matters most.